Good evening, members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. How's everybody doing this evening? For those who follow me here on Facebook, YouTube, and those who follow my TikTok under ApeCS, how's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody is doing great. Making a quick live here, just talking to whoever wants to hear spiritual talk. When you go through things spiritually and you remember your experiences, right? You say them for what you remember, which when you experience something, you can remember every detail of the situation because it happened to you. You know, you remember what happened, you could remember what you might have been wearing, you could remember what time of the day it was, you could remember the things that were happening that was affecting you, which whether it was shadow figures or dog man, werewolf, demons, whatever the case might be, you're going to remember what you've been through in life, right? So you're going to say the stories, not that it's the best of your abilities, you're going to say it for what it is. You're going to speak your truth. I'm making this video right now, brothers and sisters, because every time I place a picture or say a story, right, I share my stories. I'm not reading off a piece of paper. I'm not reading off a piece of paper that somebody might have wrote a story. I'm telling you, I'm speaking from my heart. I'm speaking from my experiences. I'm not a type of person to hold a piece of paper, have any kind of paper, reading off a paper, a story. When I share my experiences with you, it's because it's coming from the heart, because I went through it. Just like I can tell you play by play for when I was out there in Operation Desert Storm. I'm going to tell you the play by play. I'm going to tell you all the events that happened while I was out there in a 6 month time frame. I can tell you play by play of when I fought in the battle on Medina Ridge. I'm going to go bay by bay. Even though you must say something for what it is, there's going to be people that they're going to doubt you because they're trolls or they hate what you bring to the table. But for those people, I don't have to prove myself to those individuals that are trolls or haters. I'm just here to say that everything that I've experienced, everything that I've ever told y'all is 100% truth. I'll even put a lie detector to that. 100% truth. There's no lies of my stories. Like I said, I don't have to freaking read a piece of paper because somebody wrote something. I'll tell you for what it is. Somebody asked me a question, I'm going to respond to you 100% for what it is. And some people might not want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth, because there are some people that if you tell them the truth, they don't want to live by the truth. They're going to go by a lie instead, right? And I see a lot of that within a lot of groups, where you can say your truth, you can say your experience, your story, whether you place a picture, and you can show them all this proof. You can show them pictures, you can show them videos where the disembodied voices are speaking, but they're still going to say something negative towards you because they don't like what you're putting out there. They don't like, for example, myself, they don't like that I'm bringing out the spiritual aspect of things, in which of what I witness is more of a spiritual battle, between the balance of good and evil, and when I witness is more of, like I said, the balance, which is battle good, evil, which is demonic forces that are deceiving a lot of people right now. So we got Brother Kenneth Roper here, Brother Larry, and Brother Peter. How you doing, Brother Peter? That's what I was making this video. It's like you spill your guts, right? It's like you spill your guts of what you've experienced, your stories. And sometimes this happens, where you can say a story and somebody put it out of context and mix it all up, you know, and which is not in order. I like when I made that episode on This Was So Haunted. It's kind of like they made a story, but you know, since it's all they make it scripted, they mix it all up. They don't say it in sequence how it's supposed to be, you know, and then they leave certain details out because they only have a certain time frame to make an episode. Well, in that case, you know, I've said so many stories, and I still have stories that I'm willing to share with people that have understanding, you know. And I've noticed in the Facebook community, it's like we have to be careful what we say, you know. That's why I created this group. It's a private group because some people might take it offensively because not everybody believes what you believe in, or somebody might be from a different country where they don't believe our beliefs because of what they believe in, you know. And on Facebook, there's people that work from the Muslim community from other countries, and if you talk about Jesus Christ or you talk about the Bible or something, and to them is against their religion, they're going to come up against you in a negative way, and they're going to put you on a timeout here on Facebook, or they're going to give you a suspension of some sort. You know, I see a lot of that happening. In my case, what they do a lot is they hide my group. You know, they hide my group, in which they don't want people to listen to these videos. But I do have more followers now on YouTube, but they try to censor it, you know, censorship. They try to censor the videos because they don't want the people to know the truth, you know. They want people to be like puppets or being bonded, you know, whether it's from this demonic forces or from our own government, you know. There's a lot of that happening around the world, where people are trying to control people through bondage, you know, like our government is trying to do to a lot of the Americans right now, and they're trying to control us a certain way, you know. I mean, cheating, you know, I mean, when you have to cheat for an election, and it's kind of like if I cheated on a test, and I passed the test without nobody knowing it, well, that's one thing, right? But if I cheated and I got caught, well, then, of course, I got to pay some kind of consequence, right? Well, that's how I see our government, you know. It's very corrupt. You know, I don't know to even trust that anymore. I don't trust it. I'd rather leave my faith in the Heavenly Father, especially when the people that are in power, they don't believe in the Heavenly Father. They're against Jesus Christ or anything of holiness. And the only thing they spew is negativity, you know. They don't like people like me because I bring that negativity out in the open so people can understand, you know. That's why I make these videos, so people can understand that there is a spiritual battle and it's dealing with a balance, you know. A lot of things that are being in place right now, brothers and sisters, is dealing with, is happening for a reason, a certain way to try to keep people to walk a certain path. But when you're a spiritualist like me, you know, I don't listen too much to the news. I don't listen to what the government. I just keep my faith in the Heavenly Father, and I go with what the Heavenly Father says. To me, I just follow my spiritual guidance, that He guides me a certain way. Yeah, Sister Kelly Black. The reason they chuckle because of the Sasquatch is because they want the Sasquatch to be 100% of flesh. They want the Sasquatch to be 100% flesh, like an animal, right? And of course, as we know, tigers, lions, animals don't talk. So that's why they chuckle, because they want to keep it as some kind of prehistoric creature. But if you heard it talk, I'm just here to let you know that the ones that do take the manifestations of these beastly creatures that existed at one point in time, I believe that they were in existence at one point in time. The Sasquatches that were called something else back in the day, they were in existence, but the things that manifest to look like a Sasquatch and have the ability to talk, speak different languages, is the disembodied demonic Nephilim, which they have the ability to manifest, which manifestation, I call it manifestation because they're in disembodied form, but they're able to take form of these beings that the Bigfoot community knows as Sasquatch. Some people know these creatures as dogmen, werewolves, lycanthropes, or whatever manifestation they take. They have the abilities to look like this. I've seen them look like trolls before. I've seen them look like elves. They can. It's not shape shifting, because if it was shape shifting, it would be an animal or something that would be able to shapeshift in this manner. But it's more of a manifestation. That's what I've been trying to explain all along to a lot of the Bigfoot community. It's a manifestation because they're in disembodied, which means spirit, right? In spirit form. So they have the abilities to take forms of these beastly creatures. For example, the demonic demons, this disembodied Didians that I speak of, disembodied demonic Nephilim. The Sasquatches, when people call Sasquatches, well, those are what the natives would call demons. The Sasquatches, Bigfoots, they would call demons. They would say that they would even take their children at one point in time. But the shamans knew what they were, that they were a demonic of nature. And those this demons that took the form of Sasquatches, Bigfoot, the natives knew that they were demonic, right? But there were some that wanted to know witchcraft and necromancy, and that's what was promised to many natives. It doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, because Hispanic, we have native blood in us also. Along the generations, these demonic beings, whatever you want to call them, they did teach people necromancy and witchcraft, and that's what it is about. In which some of this, which we call them warlocks, witches, whatever you want to call them, skinwalkers, shapeshifters, they made deals with this demonic beings that they took the form to look beastly, like a Sasquatch or a big, whatever form they took, a Wendigo, whatever you want to call them. And they taught necromancy and witchcraft to a lot of this doctors, witches, warlocks. They taught this necromancy, for a price. And that's why once their flesh left, they had the ability to become, in some kind of way, like a disembodied demonic Nephilim, but they got the ability to be able to shapeshift, or should I say, manifest, to change form in the blink of an eye into any kind of animal. And those are abilities that were given to them by this demonic beings that they made deals with. And that's why we see a lot of the shapeshifters, skinwalkers, all over the place. It's not just Skinwalker Ranch that has certain things happening. It's all around the world. Here in Central Texas, it's real hot and heavy. But everybody's trying to make a buck, so they're gonna try to say that their location, like I never seen the show, Skinwalker Ranch, whatever it's called. They try to make it seem that it's so bad and all this. They should have gone to Elms Grove. It's a lot worse than Skinwalker Ranch. I'm telling you that you'll get attacked within your home. They'll enter your home. They don't care if they see a spiritual opening. They'll enter. They'll show themselves to you. They'll manifest in just in a blink of an eye in thin air. and they're there. For those doubters that doubt my stories, that say that I'm a liar and all this, well, I just got to tell y'all, for those who doubt the stories that I say, you know, that's on you. I've said my truth. My stories are 100% real. But if you really want to doubt, I'll take you to the location. We'll go at nighttime so you can experience what I experienced. And I'm going to tell you what, it's not a good feeling getting spiritually attacked by these demonic forces that are out there that will knock you down and drain all your energy. You know, they will knock you down, drain your energy if you're not spiritually prepared. So for all the doubters that try to say things about me or about anybody that shared their story, I'll take you to the location in Elms Grove. And it's hot and heavy right there. They'll see you because, you know, if you're doubting somebody that's speaking the truth to you, I'll take you to the location. And I'm telling you what, you'll never be the same. You'll never be the same as an individual because they will attack. I'm telling you. I remember there was a time where there was somebody that said that there was a peeping Tom that was looking inside their mobile home through the mirror and in the restroom, right? But their mirror in the restroom was way up on top, which would be like almost 20 foot high, you know, almost 15 to 20 foot high. So they've seen somebody looking at them, right? So next thing you know, there's like 6, 7, 8 squad cars inside the mobile home park, and this is nighttime. They got their high beams on, and they're beaming on something. There's something black running in the center of the light. It's not an individual. You just see something black that looks like a shadow, huge black shadow running within the light. It has a form, not of a human. It was real tall, but it's just all you see is black. The black silhouette of something running within light, and they're hitting it with a beam, but it's moving so fast, going back and forth, back and forth. You can see all these lights, you know, from all these policemen trying to capture this supposedly peeping Tom. They were there for a good 10, 15 minutes, trying to capture this shadow. The only thing to capture was the shadow within the light, and the shadow beam that I speak of that exists there in Elms Grove passed right by the policemen that were guarding the main entrance, passed right in front of them. And it was massive. It was way taller than them. Way taller, like 15, 16 foot. I don't know. It was tall shadow. Ran super fast, like right in front of them. The guys start speaking to themselves and they say, we're going to tell the chief about this? I said, are you going to tell him or I'm going to tell him? I said, no, I think we just need to keep it to ourselves because we'll probably lose our jobs and he's going to think we're crazy. That's the kind of activity that is in Elms Grove. I don't have to, I have an open invitation for those doubters. I'll give you the grids to the location, exactly where to go. Go there at nighttime and you'll see that, then you know that my stories are 100% legit because they will see you, they will make contact with you. I'm telling you. I've taken people there and they've gotten spiritually attacked in Elms Grove. People that there was people just like the doubters here on Facebook. There was people that was doubting my story when I was telling them about the activity there in Elms Grove. So they decided to say, okay, there were some that were in the military, there's some that were believed in, they were Wiccan, there were some that believe in other things. We'll go as a group, you know. They didn't believe my story. I took them. So wait till it gets dark. It was like around 5:30, 6 in the afternoon. It got dark. And we stayed there for another hour. I said, wait till it gets like around 7 or 8 o'clock. That's when activity starts picking up even more. But there's activity there 24/7. I finally took them to the wood line, took them to the location where I heard the woman crying for help. I took them to that spot and I pointed out, and I told them it's right there. They went there. There wasn't even there 5 minutes in the wood line at night. and all you could hear is the female said, "Oh my God," and she started running. As she was running out of the wood line, out of the path, there was a big old giant. I would say red orb, but it was massive, chasing her. So I would say a big red energy, right? Chased her. By the time I went out there, she was just laid out on the ground. All her energy drained. All her energy was drained, and she had bumps all over her body, her face, bumps all over her body. They had to literally pick her up and take her to safety. She's been dropped. There's been this other guy that got dropped. He got dropped 2 different times, saying that he could close the portals that were supposedly there. He got spiritually attacked. So yes, this goes to all the doubters. Even to the doubters say about doubt my stories. I have proof by other people within my family the experience of what I'm speaking about. I have a lot of brothers and sisters that experience the same thing I experienced. I got 3 brothers and 3 sisters that experience the same things that I've experienced. My story of the witches and warlocks from South Texas that will witness and experience. I've got cousins that experienced things also down there in South Texas. I don't even know why I should even explain myself to people that their sole mission in groups is to troll, say something negative. Because that's all they do, I don't think they got nothing else better to do or better to say, but I forgive y'all. But if you really want to know, if you come out of your fake profile, because a lot of these people have fake profiles, come out of your fake profile, I'll take you to the location so you can witness it. I'll personally take you. I got that time to be able to do that. I'll take you to the location and you'll see. Bring a camcorder. Bring something to record so you can catch it on camera. I'll take you to the location, and I'll even go with you because if I go with you, I'm telling you, they know who I am, so they're going to come out. All I know is if they do come out, are you prepared spiritually? Because if I take you to the location, things will get hot real quick. In that location in Elms Grove. It doesn't even matter in Elms. It's everywhere, People don't understand this demonic forces. They can manifest out of thin air wherever you're at. They can manifest in your car. You could be in your home. Some of the activity I've been getting here for the past week now is been pretty hot and heavy. That you could hear some kind of growling sounds outside at nighttime. I have 4 German Shepherds. The German Shepherds start going crazy. They start barking in the middle of the night, like around 2, 3 in the morning. And this DDN, they're out there messing around, making this loud growling sounds. It makes my dogs get in the defensive mode because they know it's something bad, So they want to come out. Like I have one that's in the cage. He wants to come out of the cage to fight whatever it is, But I don't take them outside. I stay inside the home. Doesn't matter what kind of noises I'm hearing, but I hear them. My dogs hear them, Maybe I need to record this event so people can see what I'm speaking about. I haven't gone to the woods since the last time I went out there. That I created some screenshots. It's been I guess like a week or 2 weeks maybe. I haven't been back out there, or a week. But activity's been picking up here. It's kind of like they get pissed off. These somebody, they get pissed off, so they come to my home, right? What am I supposed to do, guys? If something comes to home, I got my house protected. I got it blessed and everything. I'm ready to tie by the rebuke in Jesus Christ's name. But they were pissed off. When was it? 2 nights ago. They were making all kinds of noise outside, growlings, like loud growlings, that my dogs were going crazy. They were growling loudly in the front of my house, and then in the backyard, you could hear all kinds of noises too. But that's part of the spiritual balance, you know. People were going to say, I'm talking to you about this, and people, you know, the doubters or the haters or the trolls are going to say, oh, he's full of it. You can come witness it for yourself, buddy, or whoever doubts me that this, what I'm speaking is real and it happens, you know. I guess when you're doing spiritual works and you're being spiritually targeted, it comes with the territory, you know. This things that happen to me like this, brothers and sisters, is not a figment of my imagination, because I've caught it on video and I've showed it with you all on the short reels, you know, of things moving around me that are in disembodied form, or that they're speaking in disembodied voices. I've shared it with you all in short reels. I put my evidence out there, you know. And my videos and evidence, you're not seeing a person in costume pretending to be a Bigfoot or pretending to be a dogman, in which there's a lot of that I see in the Bigfoot community. You know, there's videos that people make in costume. You know, it's nothing like that. There's a lot of people out there hoaxing people, you know. Hopefully nobody sees somebody in a costume thinking it's a supposedly really Bigfoot and gets shot. You know, God forbid somebody gets shot in a costume. You know, you don't want to get shot. Like here in Texas, there's people with weapons, you know. See something like that in the nature and think it's a real Bigfoot, you're in a costume, they're going to shoot you, you know. So I suggest for all these people that are hoaxers or they do it for the views, please show something that's real, spiritual real. Like I said, there's a lot of videos out there that you can tell it's a person in costume. What I show you is what's in disembodied form, which is in spirit form, and it does have beastly facial features. And I'm not even going to say facial features. I'm just going to say disembodied beastly features, because they're in spirit form. You know, they can be there for about 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then they're gone. They'll make it's kind of like they're peeking through their portal to look at you, and next thing you know, boom, they're gone that fast. You know, when I hear people talk about, well, I have weapons, I use my weapons. It's going to be a waste of bullets. You know, save your ammo, because you're not gonna kill nothing that's in spirit form or disembodied form. You're gonna think it's a Bigfoot or a dog, when you're gonna shoot at it and you're gonna waste your bullets. And you might leave yourself a spiritual opening, especially you're trying to hit something through hatred and anger, right? Because that's what it wants. It wants people to go out there and shoot, you know, shoot something that they're thinking that they're killing a Bigfoot or dogman, but then the spiritual opening is there for them to attack you spiritually. You know, it'll attack you, it'll attach itself to you. You know, it likes attaching around the neck area. Of what I experienced the times that I've gone out there doing my live feeds, sometimes it feels like it tries to attach on the legs and the arms, because it wants to hurt you. You know, it's trying to find a spiritual opening. When I go out there, brothers and sisters, I pay some a cross on my forehead. I say the Our Father. I pray. Put my minerals. Like I got minerals right now here in my arms. I got my black tourmaline around me. I prepare myself spiritually before I go out there, because I already know that when I go out there, the things that come at nighttime to my house in the middle of the night, they're going to be out there during the day too. You know, it doesn't matter. You got to think about it. These things don't sleep, brothers and sisters. They don't sleep like we sleep. They're up 24/7. They don't sleep. They're up 24/7 because they're spirits, right? Spirits don't sleep. Or disembodied beings, they don't sleep. They're up 24/7. You know, and they're up to do no good. Yes, I know, bro, Michael Green, that you've been through it. There's a lot of people that I've met that I can relate to within whether it's a spiritual or whether it's a cryptic community, that I hear their stories and I see their photos, and I can see what's within the photos, because nobody has to draw a circle. I can see what's in the photo, and you can tell there's definitely something there in disembodied form. Trust me, it's not something that's in the flesh. It's in disembodied form. Even to some of the groups that I'm right now that I really like the stuff that are out there, that they're saying that they're real. What I'm seeing is this disembodied beings manifesting in beastly form. Because if it was real, if it was 100% real, then you'll be able to take a picture side by side with it, right? And you'll be like, hey, here's, it's like when you take a picture with your dog, right? You have a picture, the dog's going to come out on the screen. These beings that people are catching, it's not because they're not flesh beings. They're disembodied beings. They have the abilities to shapeshift, manifest into these beastly creatures. You could say, some people must say, man, that might be borderline sanity, like craziness. It feels that way, honestly, when we're talking about crazy stuff, that's how it is. It's something that's unexplainable, that people wouldn't believe you if you said it to them, in which they're going to doubt your story or try to dissect the story. I can show them. If they got the gas money to come to Central Texas, I'll take them to the locations where I've gotten spiritually attacked. I'll take them to the locations where I got shoved off the cliff. They will make their appearance. Trust me. By the lake at Shark Ridge Falls, they're there. They'll chase you. They'll chase you around. They're massive. They're pretty big. They resemble what a Bigfoot might look, but they're in disembodied form. They're in spirit form. So what it's really following is a big old dark shadow, and it goes into the trees, hides behind the trees, goes into the trees, and it follows you around. It happened to me in Shark Ridge Falls. That's why I got shot off a cliff that I was in crutches for about 4 months. They tried to take me out. Like I said, they have the ability to possess. If anybody is here from Central Texas, please do not take your children to Shark Ridge Falls, because there is some cliffs there, pretty steep. I remember I took my son and my friend's daughter. We were walking. Next thing, they disappeared on us. So we found them, and when we found them, it's kind of like they were in a trance-like state, and they were sitting with their feet hanging off the edge of a cliff, and that was like a 40-foot drop. And I started praying within myself, and they wasn't acting like themselves, and I was able to grab them, got real close to them, grabbed them, and pulled them to safety, But they have the abilities to possess. There's a spiritual opening. It can make somebody fall off of that. It's this disembodied beings that I'm speaking about. They're very 100% real. I'll take anybody. Everybody comes at me respectfully. I don't mind taking you to the location, so you can experience it for yourself. To these locations that I speak of, it's like this all throughout Central Texas, even on Fort Hood, brothers and sisters. There's so much activity where the billets are, because all that used to be native land. We would go train out there on Fort Hood at the ranges. A lot of crazy activity. Imagine you're out there shooting night fire, right? Let me see what we got here. Again, we got Prima Cristina, Primo Jesus Carvajal, Brother Ruben Mireles. How y'all doing? At nighttime, look, the tanks, Los Tanques, the tanks. I was in an Abrams M1, A2. I was in an Abrams MA1, A2, and I think A3 was the last one I was on. But we had thermonuclear vision that we could see. When we shoot night fire, we're using thermals, which we could see everything out there through thermal energy, right? So as we'll be in the ranges shooting night fire, all of a sudden as we're scanning with our tank, we're trying to find the target, you'll see something walking, like it's walking, and it's putting out like a heat index of some sort, and we catch it through our thermals, and we have to call higher because saying, hey, there's somebody walking down range. So they have to stop the night fire. Then they had to change range control to go down to the range to find out what's going on. You know, you see them out there. The only thing that they would tell us is, oh, it's a gang called the Gatesville Gang that's trying to steal the generators. Who in the right mind or is going to try to steal generators during live night fire, where there's rounds going down range, there's tank rounds going down range? Nobody's going to want to do that. That's the connectivity that's in Central Texas, even on Fort Hood. We witnessed a lot of that. You know that one time you shooting the stuff that you see a mover, you think it's the moving target. Like, as you know, you got stationary targets, and they put thermal things on them, right? So you could be able to see them and shoot at it. And then they got moving targets, like a tank with thermal, so you see the heat coming off that, and you shoot at it with a tank. Imagine you shooting your coax, and they say troops, and they say troops, and they're shooting at the troops. You know, they're stationary, but then you say they'll either say a moving troop or a moving tank because they see something else moving out there. They have to call a ceasefire. You know, and sometimes it makes you miss your target because you're thinking you're shooting at the targets that the range has, and it's something else that's out there. You know, I believe that's happened to many tankers out there, that they're thinking that they're shooting at a stationary target or a moving target. We're looking through the thermals, and it's something that seems to be real, but you're shooting at the wrong thing. You know, we have the thermals that can change different filters to be able to see different things out there. The thermals are so good, brothers and sisters, and we have a laser that we can laze on the target, and our sights will be right on it, you know, and we'll stay on it. You know, our weapon system is our laser system is connected to the main gun, in which is our coax and the main gun are connected to the same laser sight, so we're able to hit very directive, instant kills through the laser sight. You know, but like I said, if it's something in spirit, you're not going to be able to kill it. No, even you're not going to be able to kill it with the rounds from the tank or coax. You know, when I hear all these people talking about they got all these weapons, and I was like, that's useless here. I mean, if you're hunting for an animal like a wild boar, a bobcat, a wildcat, maybe you can use it for that. But you're not going to be able to fight disembodied beings with weapons. Doesn't matter what kind of weapon you got, how much you pay for it. You got knives, machetes. You can't fight them this way. The only way you're going to be able to fight them is spiritually. And that's the only way you're going to be able to overcome them. Because that's how they attack. You know, that's what I've been trying to tell everybody for a long time. You know, I'm trying to get people to understand what they're dealing with. I witnessed it since I was a kid, when I was in the military, all the way till now. I know what they are. Like I said, if I had some dinero, some money to be able to buy better equipment, to be able to capture them even better, that would be awesome. Or make a little group to go to certain locations here in Central Texas. I know all the hot spots. It's kind of like I can sense them when they're around. And, you know, sometimes they'll appear out of nowhere, like on the side of the road or near the tree lines. They'll appear because, you know, they know who I am spiritually, you know. But that's part of the balance, you know. Let me see who else. Yeah, it's these things that I speak of, brothers and sisters. They're very real, 100% real. Let me take a drink of the big gulp. Yeah, it's kind of like you know when you experience something and you remember it and you say it, and then like I said, there's certain people that are trolls or whatever. They want to come at you in a negative way. They know who you are, and their main mission as trolls is to give you a hard time. I'll tell them to get out of their fake profiles and bring their real bodies to Central Texas, and I'll take them to this hotspot so they can witness it for themselves. The only thing about that is I won't be held responsible if they get spiritually attacked. You know, I will watch over the people that are cool with me and that I invite. You know, that whoever wants to come over to check it out for themselves. People that have been respectful to me, I got your back. But for those trolls, they just follow around. They're on their own. I'll just point them to the direction on their own. If they come out of the well, they come out of the well. If they don't, they don't. Oh well, you know. I'll give them the coordinates. But will they be spiritual ready is a thing, you know. There's a lot of, I remember here in Central Texas where they will find bodies out there in the woods, man. Dead people that have been there dead for years, you know, where they die, you know, whether they got lost or whatever the case might be. A lot of, how should I say, mass graves. I believe it has to do with the natives that used to live in Central Texas. There's a lot of unmarked graves all throughout Central Texas. That's why there's so much spiritual activity. You know, it's dealing with the Indian native, or should I say native burial grounds. How you doing, Brother Gary? There's a lot of old cemeteries that the people have forgotten, or they knocked over the old cemeteries and they built stuff over it. The old Indian native burial grounds have built stuff over it. That's why those locations have all this crazy spiritual activity. I mean, if you're a spirit and you're in a cemetery and they took all the gravestones and left the graves and they built something over it, you know, I think the spirits will be restlessness, and they're going to cause all kinds of activity because they're going to be upset. No difference than when people are knocking down woods in certain locations here in Central Texas. Activity picks up because they're pissed off that they're building over their graves or where somebody might have passed away. Natives used to place trees as markers, you know, but throughout the years, as time went by, people forgot. You know, people lost a track of who was buried where. And that's why when you go to the woods, you catch all this activity where you could hear somebody say something to you. You might be leaning by a tree, but the tree that you're leaning by, right below it, is somebody's grave, is somebody's body. So of course you're going to hear disembodied voices, and they're going to say something to you. They're going to tell you get out. They're going to cuss at you. They're going to say all kinds of stuff because you're right there in that area, you know. But there's a lot of that here in Central Texas. A lot of the natives used to live near creeks. The natives that used to live here in Central Texas, they would call them dirty Indians. The only thing they knew to do was to hunt. So they would live by the creeks and by the ridges. At one point in time here in Central Texas, used to be buffalo, right? Buffalo. So buffalo was a source of food. But whatever they killed, this is how they would kill. They really wouldn't use spears or swords too much. What they would do, they were called lazy Indians for a reason. What they would do, they would wait for the buffalo, the deer, or whatever they were hunting, get near the edge of the cliff. They run and push it over. So it'll fall into the cliff and it dies. So that's an easy kill, right? That's how they will hunt. They wasn't into agriculture. They were more of what people would say about them, cannibalistic. They were cannibals. They would this dirty Indians that I was talking about. They used to be with the first Cav, with the army. They were like, where they were hunting other natives like Comanche, Cherokee. They were they were good hunters, so they were go hunt. The people that were wanted, right? They killed. They would kill them. They would kill the people that were captured. I think I read a story where the Cav soldier was looking for the sturdy Indians, and he found them. And when he found them, they were literally eating the other Indian, cannibalistically, raw meat. There wasn't even raw meat. They were eating them. So they were cannibalistic. You know, when we talk about cannibalistic, you hear the stories of the Wendigo, right? How would they say that a person would become Wendigo? If they ate human flesh. Well, these Indians that live here in Central Texas, they did that here in Central Texas. The government from Texas got them, and they moved them to Oklahoma, near Choctaw. They moved them to Oklahoma, and they were having families over there and stuff. Then they started eating people over there. So the government of Oklahoma, they moved some of them back to Texas. But before they had moved them to over there, what happened is, before they moved to Oklahoma, the reason they moved them over there is because people wanted revenge, because they lost a brother, a sister, or a father, or a mother to their cannibalistic ways. So they came on a hunt for them. Like all the Cherokee, Comanche, all this natives, they gathered together and they came to kill. They were killing them. They were killing them. So the government had to intervene. That's how they went up in Oklahoma. They started doing the same thing over there. So the government from Oklahoma went back to Texas. When they got back to Texas, they came at them again, trying to destroy the whole tribe of the dirty Indians, right? So they grabbed the remainder of them and then moved them to Arizona and New Mexico area, right? Why am I saying all these areas? Well, all these areas that I'm speaking about is where people are citing this skinwalkers, shapeshifters. Remember, cannibalistic, Wendigos. I'm more sure than you language, or they might have known a little bit of English, you know, working with the Cav, but they also had their native tribe language. But since they ate flesh, you know, that's a form of a cannibalistic. It become Wendigos, or you get the skinwalker and the shapeshifters. And all these skinwalker shapeshifters are located in all these areas that I'm speaking about. Oklahoma, to here, to New Mexico. There was this guy, they contacted me and they said, hey, how can there be the same, how can you be having the same activity in Central Texas that I'm having over here in New Mexico? How can that be? It's because, you know, if you look at it, what could be the cause of it? Well, I more or less know it was dealing with these natives. If they were cannibalistic, they might have been into something else too. You know, I believe since they were being cannibalistic, they were into some, might have known some witchcraft and necromancy. But that's why we catch all this activity, the disembodied voices of things that are they know how to communicate. So they say certain things, you like tell you get out, bad words. They know how to cuss, a lot of bad words. Or they'll say like, "Get them now." You know, there was one that I need to go back and look at it. It said, "I'm here to fight you." It literally said, "I'm here to fight you." You know, on the recording as a disembodied voice, it said, "I'm here to fight you." You know, it's spiritually, it's like what it's gonna fight me. How I'm gonna fight it spiritually, because it's not in the flesh; it's a spirit. But if he has the ability to shapeshift, or should I say manifest itself into a Wendigo or a Bigfoot or a dog man, then I guess I'm going to have a fight, you know, a spiritual fight, you know. So we'll fight spiritually, and you know, or we're getting Jesus Christ's name, you know, I'll maintain my faith and fight spiritually. That's why I make these videos, brothers and sisters, so people can understand, you know, that it's not just about something that we're dealing with in the flesh, you know. I've gotten personally shoved from the back off of three cliffs. Three cliffs. One of them I had to grab a tree, and it was like a 20-foot drop, and the tree broke, but I dropped 4 or 5 feet into the creek. I didn't break no legs or nothing like that, but my bag's ripped. You know, something literally shoved me. I could hear the footsteps, and I got hit in the back. You know, and when I think about it, it's natives. That's how they will hunt. When I got shot at Shark Ridge Falls, the same thing. You know, I got my back was facing the ridge, a cliff. There's nothing but rock behind me, right? So I feel the shove behind me, but there was nobody behind me. So it was something that had to be in disembodied form to shove me off that incline. You know, it was so steep. I feel like the movie Universal Soldier. You know, when they're going down and with those ropes, well, that's how steep it was. But I didn't have a rope, and I could feel my ankle twist. My knee started twisting, and I said, man, I'm fixing to break my leg. So I just dropped my body, and I went bouncing from boulder to boulder. I felt like it was like a ping pong, you know, and I was blocking the boulders from hitting my head with my shoulders, with my arms, with my legs, with my hips. I mean, I was badly bruised, but that's how they shoved me off the cliff. Yeah, so the bigger question is like this: for all the people that say they're hunters and they have weapons, how are you going to fight something that's in spirit that can literally have the ability to shove you or push you off a cliff? How are you going to fight something like that? You know what you do? What I do is I try to stay away from cliffs. I try to stay away from bridges. I try to stay away from certain areas that I can get shoved from. I had to learn that, you know. You have to watch your Q's and P's, you know, because you know their abilities. You know, when you experience something, you know what they're capable of because they already did it to you, like they did to me. You know, imagine this: you're walking during the day. You're walking during the day, and you hear something running behind you, and as you're going to turn because you're hearing the sounds of somebody running behind you, you get hit. You fly 4 or 5 feet, tumble in a row. You get up with your guards up. I would get up with my guards up because it happened to me numerous times. To fight, there'll be nobody there. Nobody. I know how many times I got shoved, and I got tired of being shoved and pushed around like that. That I said, you know what? It's time to put up my machetes, put up my knives, put up my military gear that I have, and it's time to fight spiritual. That's when it started happening. I was fighting some. That's when I was fighting this shadow figure beings that were appearing. I started fighting this other. There was different ones that manifested differently. There was some that would manifest to look like a dark shadow figures. They had the ability to go to the trees and to your house. I see them go into my neighbor's home, and then there are some that will come at you in numbers, like 3 or 4, and they will look like brownish, like they were wearing like a druid kind of form, but it wasn't a druid form. It was just a creature or a being, disembodied form being that looked brownish, like in something in the form. They're not even touching the ground. They're like off the ground. So I remember they surrounded the vehicle, like there was 4 of them. So I went outside and started praying against them. The person that witnessed them, they took off scared. You know, they said when they were leaving the mobile home park, the one came out of the woods and hit her car, and she almost wrecked. You know, these beings are out there. You know, in the Elms Grove that I'm speaking of. Then I remember when I witnessed that shapeshifter, skinwalker. You know, when I was talking about these dirty Indians, I was see there was this wolf in my yard. It was not a wolf, a fox, a red fox in my yard, and it was looking at me, and it seemed kind of odd because normally a wild animal looks at you, they're gonna take off running, but the fox was just looking at me. It wasn't afraid of me. It was looking at me. So I went up to the fox. I was like 4 feet away from it. It turned around and started walking real slow. So I started following the fox, you know. So as it went around the mobile home, which was my neighbor's mobile home, went around it. I went around it. I didn't see the fox no more. What was there instead of the fox was an old man. There was, you could see his legs. He was barefooted. You could see his arms, and he was wearing a fur, which seemed like a fur of an animal on his head and on his back. But you could see like his legs and everything. He was like naked, you know. So, and he's kind of like hunchback. So I'll start following him, you know. I'll start following him through the park, and through the park there's lights. I'm seeing him. I follow him all throughout the park. I follow him for about a good 60, 70, I'll say like probably 100 feet to go out to the exit of the park. And then I follow him out into it's like a big quad. There's an embark, and I'm following him, you know. I'm following him. I'm probably like 10 feet away from him, just trying to see where he's going, you know. Then he goes along the fence, and as I'm following him, I see him go behind a bush. And I was like, man, is that a homeless person or what, you know? So as I'm looking behind the bush, I'm waiting for the person to come out from behind the bush. He's not coming out. Next thing you know, what I seen was a St. Bernard, like Cujo, come out running from behind the bush. And it went behind another bush. So I'm looking at two bushes. I'm seeing the bush where the old man was, or whatever it was, and where the Cujo was. And I'm waiting to see if this skinwalker is going to come out, or the Cujo is going to come out behind the bush. Neither or came out, but what came out from where the Cujo was a bird, and it flew real fast. It kind of looked like an eagle. It was making a weird noise. It flew real fast, and I had to pull my guards up because I thought he was going to try to attack me, you know. So when I seen that, I said, you know what? It's time for me to go home. This happened like around 2:30 in the morning. Tell you, I wasn't afraid I would go follow, you know, if I was just trying to figure out what was going on. But there was a lot of activity out there in Elms Grove. So many eyewitnesses that were afraid to say their stories of what they witnessed out there because they were afraid that people were going to be making fun of them. Kind of like we're easy targets when you have something to say, you have a story, right? So people are going to be making fun of it. Well, it's not funny when you experience something before, and I'm saying this because there was people before I went through my experiences that would tell me, hey man, there's something here, and I thought they were just messing with me. You know, there was a man, because I would go walking around the squad, you know, after I had a blood clot in my leg, I would go walk in the squad for exercise. You know, I wasn't out there trying to explore or encounter anything. I was there trying to rebuild my leg. So I try to walk like 10 miles a day to get it stronger, you know, at night, because it was more fresh at night. The man would tell me, hey, don't go out there. Don't go out there. He lived in the edge of the park. And I would say, well, how come you don't want me to go out there? I said, there's something. He said, there's something out there, man. I said, you see where I got the target over there? So I pull out my gun. I pull out my bow and arrow. And they stand there. He said, they stand right there. He's like, what do you mean they stand right there? How many or do they stand there? Say, there's a lot of them that stand right there. And I try to shoot them with my bow and arrow, but I miss every time. He said they would stand right there, you know, by the wood line. Well, there was a little bit of woods, but it was like a little, not a cliff, but a little hill. He said they would stand there, and so he'd be shooting bow and arrow. And I was like, man, this guy's messing with me, you know. That's what I would say to myself. He's messing with me. So then one day, you know, he said, I want to show you something. I went inside he took me inside his home, right? Every window had a cross. He had weapons by every window. He had weapons in the passageways or hallways to walk in through his home. He had weapons everywhere. He said the reason he had to have them out there because they tried to go into his home. That they came banging on the mobile home. They were running on top of the roof. So that's when I started believing him more or less that what he was saying was real. And then, but at the same time, within myself, I said, well, maybe he might be on drugs or something. Maybe it's just him, you know. Maybe he's just, you know, he's on drugs and he's making this up, right? He moved, he left, and then I started experiencing the things I was experiencing, in which then I knew that he wasn't lying, that it was something real. One of the things, brothers and sisters, for those that are in the cryptic community that like to go explore or hunt or investigate, this is what he would tell me. You look at me around, he'll whisper to me, he'll say, he would say, I think they live underground, which means in Texas, for those who know Texas, a lot of our streets, underneath the streets, there's an opening underneath the streets where you could actually walk, you know, where the water goes through. He was telling me that he thinks that they go up from in our sewers, that they're living in the sewers, you know. That's what he would say. But when he would miss him with a bow and arrow, as either he was a bad shot, or it could have been this. He didn't say dogman. He would call them werewolves. Straight up, he would say werewolves. He would say werewolves. The werewolves come at night, and I would ask him what kind of color. He said some were brown, and there were some big black ones. Till I started witnessing, then I knew. Because where I live, there's a creek that runs through, and there is wool line there. But we see a lot of deer. But I witnessed what he witnessed in the park. What he witnessed in the space where he said they would stand, I witnessed it in the park. The creatures that he identified, in which I witnessed them, the brown one and the black one, that they are real. And I'm more sure to live in that area. If it's something that's real in the flesh and the blood, then it's there. But if it's a DDN, man, they have so many abilities that it's beyond us. Or it's, I ain't gonna say beyond us because I know spiritually we can fight spiritually. But I don't know if I want to go underneath the street because I know there's wildcats in Texas. I don't want to encounter a wildcat. If I do go underneath a sewer system, I would have to go lock and loaded. I wouldn't go just to go, you know, without no weapons. I would want to go with a weapon. And I believe, you know, if there was an Indian burial ground there somewhere, to my understanding, after I did the show on This Will Hunter Season 3, Episode 2, there was a man that approached me. It was an old man. He told me, so I know where you live. So you know that the land you live on used to be Indian burial ground. So you know the airport that's right beside you? That used to be Indian burial ground. And I asked him, how do you know? He said, because I was there when they built that airport. When they were building the airport, they were making the where the airport lands. They said that they found an Indian burial grave, a mass grave site. He said the graves are run all the way down to where I was living at, and he said that they have found some graves and they had like jewelry on and stuff like that. I don't know if somebody took some jewelry off those mass grave out of the graves or what, but it said that they were ordered by the person that was in charge to cover it back up, and they built over it. And I believe that's why there's so much activity there. In Elms Grove. You know, at least if it's an animal that you're hunting for, you know, at least if you got a weapon, you're able to shoot and kill it. You know, whether you're hunting a deer, javelina, a bobcat, a wildcat, at least with a weapon you can kill it. But how are you gonna hunt for something that might be in disembodied form? You know, you're not going to hunt them it's something, they'll hunt you. You know, they'll make the presence known. You know, that's a big difference, and you cannot use anything man-made against it. The only way of what I'm talking about, my experiences of what I had to do to survive Elms Grove. I lived there for 15 years, and the only reason I stayed there that long is because I was paying off my mobile home. Once I paid it off, I got out of there. I moved. I left it behind. I didn't want it. You know, I left it because I had so many spiritual battles. Imagine this: you pay something off and you don't want it. You know, you don't want it, and you don't want to give it away to nobody because your house got spiritually infested through this demonic beings of pestilence. You know, that will come and try to enter in your home. There was numerous times, brothers and sisters, that I seen him in my home. There was one evening I was reading a book, right, and I looked and I seen somebody picking through the crack of my door in my bedroom. So I look and I see him move. I open the door. I see somebody go around my kitchen cabinet. When I go around the kitchen cabinet, I seen it looking at me, and I'm looking at it and it's looking at me, but it's on the other side of my sliding door. You know, and I could see it where they closed the sliding door. So I said, to myself, I'm like, what the hell, you know? So I go out there, open up a sliding door, and it's already going through the grass real fast. So I start running after it, you know. I was in the military, so I could run fast. I was hauling, in the military, I say hauling ass after it, trying to catch it. And he was moving fast. And then when it goes on the street, you know, there's light poles. You can see where it's off the ground. It's not even running, it's gliding, gliding. And then it jumps into a tree. And I say, identify yourself. I see you went into that tree. Identify, and I'm looking at the tree. Then he jumps out of the tree, goes into another tree. And I say, identify yourself. I start praying the Our Father, deliverance prayer, jumps out of the tree, starts gliding up in the air, and he's laughing. He's literally laughing, making fun of me, you know, as I'm praying against it. And I seen it go up to the top branches, and it glides away into the sky. It flies into the sky. You know, that's the kind of crazy activity that I experienced there in Elms Grove. You know, true freaking stories. You know what I did? Like I said, I was fighting spiritually. So I didn't know what I was dealing with. You know, so many things, because it manifests in so many different forms. When it glided, and there was one that it looked like it was wearing like a black cape with a hat. You know, people call it the Dark Man. But to me, something like that could be vampiric or Nosferatu. So I was like, man, what am I dealing with? Is this a vampire? What the hell is it, you know? So I started making my own little weapons. And the weapons is, like I said, a spiritual fight. I started mixing up holy water with olive oil, with garlic, salt, with pure stuff. So I would make these pure ingredients, and I go place crosses, like where it went through the tree. I'll place a cross there, and I'll sprinkle salt around the tree. And I went to the trees. Every time I would see something somewhere, I'll go place a cross or place of salt, because I felt it was using it like a portal of some sort, right? So it wouldn't be able to use it. But then they start coming out in numbers. I'm talking about platoon-wise numbers. Platoon, like a platoon number. Like a high number, like a 15, 16, 14. Big numbers. See them at the park. And then instead of staying... Look, my hairs are even standing up just talking about it, guys. They're standing up right now. My hairs, you can see right there. They start coming in numbers, and you can see them walking through the park at nighttime, coming towards the mobile homes, you know. So I go outside with all the ingredients, and I start putting it around my home, the salt, to start placing crosses on the walls, on the doors, because they were coming in numbers, you know. What comes in numbers that we know spiritually, brothers and sisters? The legion, right? The Legion come in numbers. So I had to protect my home, you know, protect me. I'll place crosses on all my. It wasn't just me living there. It was me, my son, my sister, and her children. So before we'll go outside to fight spiritually, I'll place crosses on every single person inside the house because I had to protect them also, you know. So just people don't understand that when I say a story, it's not just about me. There was a lot of other people living in the household with me that remember these things that I'm speaking of, these events. They remember them coming into the home, picking into the rooms, tall beans, looking into the rooms, you know. My nephews, they have nightmares of that, you know. It affected a lot of my family members, you know. I'm just glad that for the longest time, you know, when we would talk, they're like, every time I go to sleep, he always wants me to take me to Elms Grove. He wants to take me back to that mobile home and all this stuff, you know. But things like that already settled down some. But when you experience something bad, right, of course, you're going to remember what you went through. So you're going to have a form of PTSD, right? That is normal, that you might have a bad dream of something that you experienced then. You know, you're going to remember, like you're living, you're back inside the room or the bedroom or in the room in the park where you experience the experience. So you have to fight spiritually. And when you're in spirit, when you wake up, what you do is you say, I tie, bind, and rebuke you in Jesus Christ's name. You have to rebuke the dream, brothers and sisters. Whether it's, even if you're daydreaming, or if an image appears in your head and it's something bad, or you hear something that's bad, rebuke it. Remember, seeing, the hearing is part of your spiritual senses. So what they're actually trying to do is infiltrate through bondage, trying to find a way into your foundation. So you have to rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. It's happened to me where I could be driving and I'll see an image of something trying to happen to my son or to a loved one. So what do? Rebuke it right off the bat in Jesus Christ. Now, don't think about it, because the ability of wishing something, we have the ability to pray for somebody and heal somebody. At the same time, if you think about something, then you have the ability for something to happen. So if you're seeing something bad happening and it's going into your thought process and it's not good, rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name, because it's this unseen forces that I'm speaking of trying to find a way in you, and not just trying to use you for things to happen with people. You have to rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name. That's why I always talk about that forgiveness is a big part of love. You know, so we have to forgive individuals. For people that dabble with witchcraft, they call themselves witches and warlocks or whatever the case might be. I'm just here to tell you one thing. These people that dabble with witchcraft or magic, Beelzebub is not going to cast out Beelzebub. It doesn't matter if you're a white witch. It doesn't matter if you're a black witch. You can't find magic with magic, because who's in charge of the magic that you think is some kind of power? Lucifer himself, the Legion. So you're not really doing nothing there. The best way to be able to fight a spiritual battle is through Jesus Christ. That's the best way. And, you know, of course, witches and warlocks, you know, there's some. I don't know what kind of witches there is in 2023. The witches I knew from back in the day were old witches, and these witches were evil witches that they done sold their souls to the devil. Just like there was evil witches that was warlocks or brujos, what we call brujos and brujas, they done sold their soul to the devil. And their main mission here on earth was to cause chaos and havoc. No difference than some of these things that I've been speaking of, the shapeshifters, the skinwalkers, the wendigos, because they made deals right? For power. And I guess they promised them certain gifts, certain abilities that they will be able to utilize, not just while they were still alive, but when they were gone, they were given the power to be able to manifest, to live in spirit, and to be able to change into any animal form. Well, that exists. That was in my times when I was growing up. You know, there's a lot of people that claim that they're witches. And there's a lot of people that they have these abilities. The only thing I can say is the only strong to me, because I've battled witches, warlocks that come at me in a negative way. I'm talking about evil people. I've battled them. The only way you're going to be able to overcome these witches and warlocks is through Jesus Christ. That's the only way. No, any other kind of way, can't beat them up because anger, that's a spiritual opening. You can't fear them because if you fear them, that's a spiritual opening. If you believe in them, that's a spiritual opening. So many spiritual openings they can use against us, but the only way we're able to fight them is by not leaving those spiritual openings for them to use against us. What we do, we forgive. Listen to me. We forgive because forgiveness is part of love. If we can't forgive, then how do we expect Jesus Christ to forgive us for our sins when we cross over? So we have to be able to forgive because forgiveness is part of love. So through that forgiveness, our love becomes greater, in which we're blessed. Listen to me. We're blessed. We don't have to sell nothing. You know, our birthright is the kingdom of heaven. We're blessed with the spiritual gifts of discernment, in which that's what I use when I go out to do an investigation. Is my spiritual gifts, a discernment to be able to know what's around me, because I can sense them, I can feel them when they come around. You know, so I use a spiritual gift of discernment. I used it in Elms Grove to fight spiritually, and I use them now. The only way you can obtain those spiritual gifts, brothers and sisters, is through a love foundation. You have to, with forgiveness, you can have hatred, anger, none of that stuff, because like I said, that will block your abilities to utilize your spiritual gifts of discernment. It will block it. I know there's some people that might not believe in that. I'm letting you know. It's going to block it. In which, when it blocks it, then you're going to have doubts. You're not going to believe of the things that I'm saying. And the reason you're not going to believe is because they're being blocked. What I mean by that, by being blocked, it means that it's being controlled by the negativity that's got you bonded. It's going to block for you to be able to see spiritually, hear spiritually, sense spiritually. It's going to block all that, you know. And I know what I witnessed through the cryptic community and some other sites I'm in, paranormal communities, that there's a lot of people that are being bonded right now through that negativity because of spiritual openings that they have, whether they don't want to change the path that they're on. You know, they're still living in sin. Or they're still dabbling with the witchcraft or with a Ouija boards, and they're reading cards, or they think that they have some kind of special ability to teleport themselves out of their body, or that they're seeing certain pictures because something's showing them certain pictures. Well, that's a spiritual opening for this DDN or this demonic beings to attack, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to open up like that. They want you to believe, they want you to think you have those abilities. So long they can control you and keep on controlling you, they're going to make you think that you have those abilities. So they are going to show you things, just like they show people within the crypto community. So, okay, they're believing in the Bigfoot, but it's really me pretending to be a Bigfoot. You know, the demons, this is what the demon is saying. So I'm going to pretend to be a Bigfoot again. You know, I'm going to make what they consider a Sasquatch yell. I'm going to make a Sasquatch yell. Well, I'm going to go bang on a tree. So long you get the person to believe it's a Bigfoot, I got him already. That soul belongs to me. I'm controlling it, right? So it's got them bonded, you know, and the person's over there banging on the tree, knocking, making Bigfoot sounds, Bigfoot yells. They even got names for the little tribe of supposedly Bigfoots, you know. The demons are going to make them believe that because they want to keep them bonded. That's bondage, you know. I'm just talking about of what I witness, what I see. You know that is happening to a lot of people right now. And then there's a lot of people that believe that 100% to be flesh and blood, and some of them are not. They died tragic deaths, but because they're believing 100% it's real, the demon don't care. It's going to manifest into a leprechaun for you to believe it's a leprechaun, a fairy. It's gonna manifest that way because it just wants you to believe. Imagine this: if you believe 100% that Bigfoot is flesh and blood, or 100% the dogman is 100 flesh and blood, but you don't believe 100% that Jesus Christ exists, right? If your faith is weak, you don't believe Jesus Christ exists because of so many things that people say, right? Then who are you giving power to? Who are you really believing in? So if the demons, you're believing more in the Bigfoot and the dogman, well, then you're believing in the demon that's manifested itself to look like that. So the opening is wide open for it to either have you controlled like a puppet or keep you bonded like a puppet, or it could come at you at any given time and attack, because you know it's gonna what happened to me when it started attacking me is when I was onto it. You know, I already knew what I was dealing with when I said, you know what, there wasn't a flesh and blood creature after all. It's demons. When I started fighting spiritually, that's when I started fighting. They were hitting me left and right, unseen, invisible. You know, that's when I knew I was in the midst of a spiritual battle. But when I forgave the person that I hated the most, I forgave that individual truthfully, that's when everything changed for me. The spiritual gift discernment came, and when that came, the angels came also to protect me spiritually. And it's like they made one more last attempt, but it didn't work. Because I already knew that God is a forgiving God, and because I heard it forgiving truthfully from the heart. So I didn't buy into the BS that this DDN, demonic beings, whatever you want to call them, were trying to offer me. You know what they were offering me? They wasn't offering money. You know what they were offering me? This is what they offered me. Either they said either we attack the people you love, or you take your life. That's what they offer me. Or you take your life. If you take your life, then we would do nothing to your loved ones. You know what I said to them? I said, my loved ones are protected by the Heavenly Father and the heavenly angels, and I take authority over you in Jesus Christ's name. I tie, bind, and rebuke in Jesus Christ. When I said that to them, directly at them, boom, they left my house. All the activity that was happening stopped. That's why I speak of what I speak of with you, because I experienced it. I know what they're up to. Do not get deceived by them by giving them power any kind of way or sort, because they will take advantage of it. It reminds me of an old episode. I don't know who's old enough here or what, but it reminds me of an episode of Lost in Space. Does anybody remember what Lost in Space is? The show Lost in Space with Will Rogers and what was his name? The little boy. What was it? I can't remember the little boy's name. Dr. Smith and Will. Well, there was an episode. I want to share. It was an episode where there was a little ghost. You know, it was a little ghost, and it was small, a little small ghost, and Will got scared of the little ghost, and the ghost grew a little bit, and he got scared. It was always scaring him. And then it got bigger and bigger because he was scaring them all the time, right? So every time he was fearing it, he was giving it power. So next thing you know, the ghost got so huge that it was bigger than the ship, right? So how did Will overcome the ghost that he gave him power to, that was small, became big? He stopped being afraid of it. He stopped being afraid of it, and when he stopped being afraid of it, it got smaller and smaller and smaller, and boom. Sometimes, brothers and sisters, we give power to those those beings that are around us by believing in them through fear or believing that they're real. So be careful. Yeah, I'm talking to you as a person that cares, that has love in his heart. Be careful what you believe in. Don't give it power, because what you might be believing in, if you give it power, it's going to use that to come up against you, because they don't want you to be happy. You hate this beings that I speak of. They dislike humans. They tried to destroy the world a long time ago. That's why the flood got created. So they became disembodied after the flood, which means that they're in spirit form, or they're still around. That's why I call them DDNs, disembodied demonic Nephilim. I witnessed one of them attack my grandfather when I was 5 years old in the chicken coop. It was we were picking the eggs from the chicken coop. We had two chicken coops, a little one and a big one. So he said, wait right here. It started raining. I was underneath a blackberry tree, and my grandfather went inside the chicken coop because the chickens were clucking, and he said that there was either a snake or a possum in the chicken coop. So it goes in the chicken coop, and then I hear him screaming real loud. So I'm thinking, and I was like 5 years old. I grabbed a stick and I said, I'm going to go scare the possum. So I went into the chicken coop. When I witnessed what this huge black thing had my grandfather elevated in the air, right? I'm going to take off my hat for this one so y'all can see. My grandfather was like 75 years old already. He was elevated up in the air, and scratches were coming out of nowhere on his body. He was getting scratched by an unseen force. He had scratches on his face, scratches on his body, scratches on his back, on his legs. And when I looked, I seen it. This big black silhouette with red eyes looking at me. And I was looking at it. It dropped my grandfather. And he looked at me, and he lunged towards me. I'm talking about the cabin was pretty long. When he lunged at me, it turned into smoke, black smoke. It started coming directly at me. Imagine just like black smoke coming at you, straight at you. So when it was doing that, I could feel the presence of the heavenly angels around me. You know, I was 5 years old. I could feel the presence of something good behind me. So the smoke broke the window. There was a little window, and all that smoke went through a little hole out that window. You know, when people talk about the jinn, they're like this, they're like a genie bean, but what they're really witnessing is this DDNs, brothers. This disembodied demonic Nephilim. That's what they're witnessing. The people in the Muslim community, they call them the jinn over there. That's what they call them. What they're really witnessing is this disembodied demonic Nephilim. They're worldwide, man. They're around the world trying to cause chaos and havoc. That's what they are. You think about it, when they talk about genies, right? What is genie? Something that has the ability to turn into smoke. So yes, smoke, black smoke, mist. You know, same thing. Just be careful. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. You know, I'm opening up here to the audience. You know, letting you know that, you know, like I said, I'm not reading. I'm speaking to y'all directly to y'all from the heart, man. Because I have no reason to lie to nobody about anything. Life is precious. Life means a lot to me. So when I see people being deceived, being tricked, you know, that's why I say what I say. Good night, Brother Gary. You're welcome, brother. Yeah, man, I got so many stories. You know, it's like a never-ending story, brothers and sisters. When you place your faith in Jesus Christ and you're there 100%, you know, for Jesus Christ, it's like it's a constant battle. You know, it's a constant battle because these forces that are unseen, they're trying to cause chaos towards you or to people that you might know. So there's a lot of prayer that goes into it, or you got to use love, show some kindness to individuals. Like some of the things that I've been doing. I see somebody homeless, I'll give them $5 so they can buy something to eat or something. I'm using what Jesus Christ would do, right? So I try to help out as many people as possible, and this is a way that I do it. I do a lot of good deeds, and I try to help out people spiritually here through spiritual encrypted encounters. There's so many stories, man, that I haven't spoken of, that maybe one day if somebody would ask me the right questions, I will be able to share a lot more stories, encounters that I've had throughout my life. But I don't want to stay too long. I don't know what time it is right now, but it's time for me to go, I think, because my wife has to get up early. But I want to thank everybody who joined here tonight. Cousin Jesus Carvajal, Brother Gary, Brother Grizzly, Brother Michael Green, Brother Ruben, Prima Christina, Brother Peter, Brother Larry. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're having a bad day, man, if you're ever having a bad day, what I do, I think positive. If something's trying to make you have a bad day, think positive. Positive thinking. Use your love foundation. Push that negativity away from you and replace it with your love foundation. Let your love foundation radiate out. And if you have to, rebuke that negativity in Jesus Christ's name. Remember, never forget to do that. Rebuke it in Jesus Christ's name, and it will flee. Well, thank you all for tuning in. God bless every single one of y'all. Love, light, and blessings to y'all and your families. Peace out, everybody.